everyone, welcome back to Numerics with Nadia. In today's lesson, we're going to go over how to simplify fractions. So how do we know if we can simplify a fraction? A fraction can be simplified if the numerator and the denominator can be divided by the same number evenly. And we're going to go through and put some steps together on how to solve this, but basically what we're going to introduce here is called the greatest common factor. So for our steps, first we're going to find the GCF, our greatest common factor, of the numerator and the denominator. We're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor, and then we're going to write our simplified fraction. And I'm sure that for those of you who don't have familiarity with the greatest common factor, these steps are probably very confusing at this point, but we're going to go through and practice this topic through a few examples, so it'll definitely start making some more sense. So let's practice. For number 1, we have 3/9, and we're going to have to find the greatest common factor. The way we're going to do that is using what I like to call a tree diagram. So we're going to start with the number we're looking at on the top, and we're going to look at the factors that multiply to that number. So for 3, we know that 3 times 1 will give us 3, and for 9, we know that 3 times 3 gives us 9. The greatest factor that's in common between the two is going to be 3, right? So we're going to circle that. That's the number we're going to reduce by, top and bottom. So we're going to look at our original fraction now. We're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 3 to reduce our fraction and simplify it. When we divide 3 by 3, we just get 1, and when we divide 9 by 3, we'll get 3. So 3/9 is equivalent to 1/3. Now for number 2, we have 4/32. We're going to have to do the same thing. We'll make a tree diagram, find our greatest common factor. We'll have separate tree diagrams for our numerator and our denominator. So we'll have 4 and 32. And now we're looking for factors of 4 and factors of 32. We want to find the greatest one, right? So we know that 4 breaks up into 2 times 2, and that 32 breaks up into 8 times 4. They both have a 4 in common, right? Because obviously 4 is a factor of itself, and then 32 has 4 as a factor as well. So we're going to take that 4, we're going to divide, that is our greatest common factor. We're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by our greatest common factor. 4 divided by 4 will give me 1. 32 divided by 4 will give me 8. For number 3, we have 14/28. Same thing, we're going to make a tree diagram. 14 breaks up into 14 times 1 if we're breaking it up by the biggest factor. 28 will break up into 14 times 2. So obviously there are other factors for these numbers, but we want to find the greatest one. And 14 is the greatest one for both of these numbers. So that's our greatest common factor. We'll divide it by the numerator and the denominator. 14 divided by 14, 28 divided by 14, we'll get 1/2. All right, and for number 4, we have 11/55. Tree diagrams again. 11 will break up into 11 times 1. It's a prime number. 55 will break up into 5 times 11, which is perfect. We're looking for the greatest common factor. 11 only has one factor, so the fact that 55 also has a factor of 11 is perfect. 11 is our greatest common factor. We'll divide the 11 by our numerator and our denominator. 11 divided by 11 will give us just 1. 55 divided by 11 will give us 5, so we get 1/5 for number 4. For number 5, we have 8/56. We're going to make tree diagrams again. We'll do a tree diagram for our numerator of 8, a tree diagram for our denominator of 56. We know that 8 breaks up into 8 times 1. 56 breaks up into 8 times 7. So we have that 8 in common. The 8 will be our greatest common factor. And that's what we're going to divide our numerator and denominator by. So we're going to do 8 divided by 8, and then 56 divided by 8. 8 divided by 8 just gives me 1. 56 divided by 8 will give me 7. So for number 5, we'll get 1/7 as our final answer. And moving on to our last problem, of today's lesson, we have 15 over 21. We're going to make tree diagrams again for each of them. 15 breaks down into 5 times 3. 21 breaks down into 7 times 3, so we have that 3 in common. 3 will be our greatest common factor. We'll divide our numerator and our denominator by 3. 15 divided by 3 will just give me 5. 21 divided by 3 gives me 7. So for number 6, we get 5/7 as our final answer. And that is it, you guys. Quick lesson for today. I hope these practice problems really helped us understand how to simplify fractions. This is very, very important as you build your knowledge in fractions through more difficult problems, which we're going to do in our next video. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I will see you guys next time.